The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have visited the Taj Mahal on the final day of their week-long tour of India and Bhutan. Diana, Princess of Wales, was famously photographed on her own at the monument in 1992, shortly before she separated from Prince Charles. Our correspondent Simon Jones reports.
24 years on from Diana's visit, it's that this tour will be remembered for. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge on that bench. It was where, back in 1992, Diana posed at a time when her marriage to Prince Charles was facing enormous difficulties. She described it as a very healing experience, a photograph that captured a disintegrating marriage, a princess without her prince. Their separation was announced later that year. William is said to feel incredibly lucky to visit a place where his mother's memory is kept alive by so many who travel there. But he and Catherine will hope today will replace those images of Diana with something happier. The Taz Mahal was built in the mid-17th century as a monument of love. It took 22 years and 20,000 men to build it from white marble transported from 200 miles away by elephants.
How was it, sir? How was it, sir? Stop it.
Today, though, another chapter in its long history. And as the week-long tour draws to an end, a thank you from the royal couple to the people of India for their hospitality during their stay. Simon Jones, BBC News.
With us now is Dickie Arbiter, former press officer and spokesman for the Queen. Dickie, thank you so much for joining us. You had a hand in that photo call, didn't you, at the Taj Mahal that has become so famous now of Princess Diana. Tell us how it came about.
Yeah, I did indeed. It really came about, quite frankly, that every VIP that goes to India really has to go to the Taj Mahal. It's a World Heritage Site. The Indians are very proud of it, and every VIP goes there. Every VIP is photographed and filmed from the same spot. And Diana was no exception. Unfortunately, the tour that we went on in '92 was one that had been postponed from 12 months previous, which had been postponed because of the First Gulf War. It's quite conceivable that Charles could have gone with her on that particular one, but by the time we rescheduled the visit, there were so many plans in train that he had to go to a business meeting, which was almost 1,500 miles away from Agra, so he couldn't have done two.
And you were in Bangalore at that business
I was in
trip.
Bangalore at the time, yes.
When you saw the photos that resulted from Princess Diana's visit to the Taj Mahal, what was your reaction to it? Could anybody have had an inkling of how they would later come to be perceived?
I think if you set something up like that, an individual is going alone and the marriage is almost on the rocks, then you can visualise what's actually going to come out of it. It didn't take rocket science, and yes, we were prepared for it, but there was little we could do about it.
How did you try to manage it? Because it's been such an enduring image.
It has been enduring, and there's not a lot you can actually do to manage it. The pictures are there. The pictures speak for themselves. She was asked what she thought of it, and she said, very healing. What do you mean by that? Work it out for yourself. The story's all there. There's nothing you can do or say to counteract it.
The next generation have now been visiting.
Very brave thing to do, to actually walk in his mother's footsteps, and very brave of Catherine alongside him, but they did it remarkably well. They went to exactly the same bench. They had no choice. There was a lot of scaffolding up, which sort of detracted from the pictures, but they did extremely well. In fact, the whole tour was very good.
Royal officials have said they're trying to create new memories. How unusual is it to even have issued a statement like that?
It's a weird statement.
It's an acknowledgement, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm not terribly sure what's actually meant by it. I think, you've got to look at it for what it is today and move on. You can't recreate something.
Do you think that's what they're really trying to do? Aren't they trying to say, look, it was a difficult time, but now things are happier?
It was a different time. That marriage was very rocky at the time that Charles and Diana went to India. This marriage is extremely good. I mean, we saw on their trek up to the Tiger's Nest Monastery in Bhutan. They're not afraid to show their feelings for each other with their arms around each other in public, holding hands. So, yeah, it was a very different marriage.
Speaking of that monastery, some people have said, what on earth do they think having this sort of side excursion? And other people say privilege existence. But how difficult is it for William, for that matter, to live their lives and everything constantly be compared with what their parents did before them?
It's always going to be that. what their parents for them. It's what Diana did before with the Taj Mahal in particular, William retracing the steps. They are their mother's sons, they are their father's sons, and they've gone before them, and they're going to relive everything. I mean, William, they almost do it themselves. William's named Charlotte, Diana's name, Catherine's got his mother's engagement ring, and he constantly talks about his mother, as does Harry. So there's always going to be that comparison.
Dickie, thank you very much. Dickie Arbiter, former press secretary for the Queen. Thank you.